Okay. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead, Patricia.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. I'm Patricia Trout, for those of you that don't know me, and I manage the landscape architecture group throughout the 10 or 11 offices that we currently have here at RIC. So I'm going to do a rundown of what we do as landscape architects and landscape designers, and then an update on some of our projects. So, what's landscape architecture? A simple definition is it's the art and science of designing outdoor spaces. We all understand what an architect does. They design the building. And as civil engineers, you're designing the vehicular roadways, the site plan, the grading and drainage. And in many ways, we're kind of designing some of the same spaces. So, our task is designed from the vehicular areas to the building. And so, yeah, we're both kind of designing these spaces together, but we have different perspectives. And so, what I suggest is that you, use the landscape architects in your area and, have them look at your site plans sometimes and get a fresh set of eyes looking at it. And you might be surprised what we come up with. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, awesome. Okay, this is the landscape architecture team. We're 12 strong. 7 of us are licensed. The landscape architects from the San Diego office work very closely with Stephanie, that's in Riverside. And then we also provide services to Irvine, San Luis Obispo, Sacramento, and Las Vegas. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to dive right into our projects. This first one is Rancho Santa Margarita, entry monumentation. And what I want you to see is the 2 images at the bottom. The one to the right is our visual sim, and to the left is the entry monument that's under construction. And if you look at it, that visual sim is pretty much spot on. So, what's in that image has been constructed. So, just trying to emphasize, you can see how these images would really kind of help to sell a project. And, we had several city council meetings and used our visual sim at that time. Up on top, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but these trees that were delivered originally, they were supposed to be 96-inch box trees that cost $40,000 a piece. And the contractor wasn't able to find them. So we went with 60-inch box. But you can see in that one image, the guys standing around that are going to install the tree. The tree's pretty big. And one of the things we like to do if we have any concerns is to actually put in our specifications that a certified arborist needs to be on site when the tree is installed. Next slide. Okay, this is City of Vista, and this is a parking and circulation study. And we just started this project a couple months ago, and we're working with the traffic engineers here in San Diego. So what we're trying to do with this project is reimagine the downtown area and make it more pedestrian oriented and provide more parking for the local businesses. You can see the overall site plan in the center, and then around it are some of the key areas and design elements that we're proposing. And the upper right image is, again, a visual sim kind of showing one of these little activity nodes that are kind of tucked in between 2 banks of parking. And then we were also tasked with redesigning part of the intersection at Main Street and Indiana Avenue. So those are those little options. Next slide. Okay, Terminal 1. We started working on this project at the end of 2020, and it's pretty much been nonstop since then. This is a 71-acre site out of 630 acres that make up the airport, and the budget on this was $2.3 billion. And for this presentation, I thought I'd just kind of do the math and figure out kind of how much we're spending on trees. And we're up around $8 million on trees. And that's a little over 1,000 trees that are going in as part of this project. So we were just there last Friday, gave them a little behind the scenes tour of the landscape group, and some of the planners joined us. And the top image is the arrivals curve. And so you have these little respite areas. They're like 10 by 30 feet. And they have pots, planted pots, and then a bench. And so it's just an area, for someone that might be spending more time at the airport than they anticipated. Right below is this is our bicycle parking. And when I started, I thought this is overkill. We currently have 258 parking spaces for bicycles. But, with the all the electric bikes that are being used and whatnot, I could see some young people, going to the airport with their backpack on an electric bike and hopping on Spirit Airlines and going somewhere for the weekend. So we'll see how that plays out. And then the bottom image is Jonathan Austin's sense of humor. And this is, the construction fence, and they put little happy faces on them so that the wind can pass through. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of happy faces at the airport. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to go over 3 parks. First one's Fallbrook Park. This is the ribbon cutting ceremony is next month. The park includes a skate park, a native plant garden, multi-purpose field, picnic area, playgrounds, and then at the bottom is like a dog park, off-leash area for dogs. I want you to notice that we have the call-outs in both English and Spanish. And then that's a few more images of the park currently. Next slide. Okay, this is Wagenheim Joint Use Facility. This was a project that the landscape group primed, and we also worked with our RIC civil engineers and survey crew. It's called a joint use facility because the property is Wagenheim Middle School, and then it's also Walker Neighborhood Park. So they share these facilities. This was a major substantial overdue for this park, and it now has 4 ball fields, a large playground area. You can see the image there, and then a trail system that circles around the improvements. Next slide. Okay, the city of Lake Elsinore, and we've been working with this client, I'm going to say about 7 or 8 years. So the bottom image to the left is part of the master plan that we did with them. This is very simplistic, but it kind of just helps you to see what we've done. So the first area we did was the core area. That's the area around, this is a school, an elementary school that was closed. So the existing buildings, we redid the playgrounds, added a pickleball court, and then we had all these passive little recreational areas. After that was completed, the county went with phase 5, and that's off to the left, and that's the ball fields. And this was just completed in November of last year. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I have 3 streetscape projects I wanted to profile. So the first one is Rancho Santa Fe Roundabouts. This is with Olivia and Edgar's group. And again, the visual sims on the bottom, you can see how important they would be in explaining the project to the communities. So they, again, they came in handy quite a bit. Next slide. This is Streamview, and this is with Nick Dorner's group. And this is a 2 to 3 mile long streetscape improvement project. And the landscape group took it to the next level on this one. And we also have a video of this project that we'll make available on the hub. But I just want to point out on this, the homes are not detailed a lot. So when we do this type of visual sim or a video, the more detail that the client wants, the more time it takes, and therefore, it impacts the price. So just something to keep in mind, but some great graphics on this stream view project. And last project, next slide, there we go. Okay, this is South Mission Road, and this project is with Carson's Group. It's a water quality project in Fallbrook. And this project's a case study for the County of San Diego. We're using Silva-Cells, and they're kind of an innovative product. Silva-Cells, they are like a modular pavement system that provides larger openings for soil, and but you're still able to maintain the structural integrity that's needed for the pavement. So it supports, larger tree growth for street trees and whatnot. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kim.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kim Nilsson, and I manage the landscape group here in Colorado. We support both the Arvada and the Centennial offices. And this is an example. We support the planning group quite a bit on their comprehensive plans. So you can see in this top right corner, it's kind of small, but it shows the existing street. And then we did worked with the planning group on what their vision was for the town as they work with the town for the images. And we create these graphics and support them so they can give them to the town. Plus they go into their comprehensive plans so that the community knows what the city, the town is thinking of for their future town use. So we do a lot of this. We support our planning group here in Colorado. We've supported the planning group in Arizona as well as San Diego once in a while, helping them to create these graphic visualizations. Next slide, please. So we also, we've been doing a lot of different kinds of things out here, and this is a solar farm on the Ute Reservation in southwestern Colorado. And we built a model that was acres and acres large. I forget how many. Oh, it says right here, 775 square miles, 5,000 acres. It was to show the tribal members in the community what the impact would be of this farm on their reservation and on their land. And so we went to multiple community meetings, about 4, and Jared and our group would run the model, and we could fly over to somebody's house where their house was and show them the impact this solar farm would be on their views from their homes. And we have a video driving down the interstate so that you can see what it looks like as people pass through from the Four Corners area. We modeled some of you see the bottom left is, I forget the name of that mountain, but we modeled the landmarks that all the community knows so that they could really visualize how this would look, and it seemed realistic to them. So this was something new and different that a client came to us and we made it work for them. We've also worked with Brian Laird's group on helping to do they were doing some virtual reality VA hospital work, and we helped them do some of the modeling. So we assisted them with that. So we assist a number of groups as we can if people are wanting our kind of help. We really kind of built the graphics out here. Next slide. So we do a lot of single family developments, and as part of the single family developments, we do multiple parks. This is Red Rocks in Morrison, Colorado. We work closely with the engineers in the Centennial office. So this is one of the parks that has been built and has a splash pad and shade shelters, restroom. Unfortunately, they couldn't turn the water onto this yet, so we haven't planted the sod and it's not open yet to the community. But one of our challenges is that we do a lot of parks out here. We do city parks. We do parks for developers, as this one is. So a lot of different kinds of things. Next slide. This is the Korean War Memorial. this is when our client approached us to work with the Botanic Gardens and the university here. Their grad students came up with a concept for a memorial. So we fine-tuned and brought these plans to CDs, but we also built this model for graphic exhibits to help them to raise money to get funding to build the memorial, which is now about to kick off next month. This is going to be built in the middle of an existing city park, a memorial to all the countries and soldiers that were involved in the Korean War. So this has been a very interesting project, very small. It's just a little kind of egg-shaped area in the middle of this existing park, but it's, you know, had a lot of twists and turns and it's been pretty interesting. It's lasted for a few years, but like I said, we're gonna have a groundbreaking next month, so. And then this is a large, we do park master planning. This is a 168 acre park for the town of Frederick. So we have, landscape was the lead on this and client is the town. And this is many uses on 168 acres. It's right now just an empty field that used to be hay. And so some of it we're bringing back to native area and some of it we're having programmed events like tennis and play areas and ball fields and community gardens. So this was also another model we did of this whole thing so that we could show multiple views to get the community input. So we found these graphics have been very helpful as we design, and we try to share the design ideas with community and town members. And as they want to make changes, we make the revisions and show them easily. And then I hand it off to Mark in Tucson.
Thanks, Kim. I'll be brief here because I see we're running over our time slot. Sorry. So Tucson, I'm Mark Fellinger out here in Tucson. I serve Tucson office and Phoenix, a variety of projects, primarily on the private side of things, mix of commercial and like national home builder residential type projects. But so rather, I've got a couple of project example photos on the screen there. I think Patricia and Kim have done a great job of highlighting specific projects. So I just wanted to touch briefly on a couple of services that we offer out here in Tucson that are similar to what we offer in some of the other regions, but that are a little unique to Tucson. So if you can go to the next, thank you. So native plant inventory and salvage plans is something that we do here in Tucson and to some degree in Phoenix also. So most of our projects involve some aspect of native plant inventory and mitigation. The local Tucson jurisdictions all have some sort of ordinance requiring inventory and salvage or protection to some degree of various native plant species. So we'll go out on site, inventory, assess, tag plants based on health and viability and transplantability and various other criteria, and make a determination as to whether or not plants will get salvaged for transplant at the end of the project back onto site, or whether or not they can be removed. So that's a big part of what we do out here. And then the other one I wanted to touch on was rainwater harvesting plans. And everyone knows that water conservation has kind of been a big issue for a number of years in all of our regions. Tucson has this one kind of unique take on it in terms of conservation, in that there's an ordinance here requiring us to conserve water by mandating that a certain percentage of landscape water use is met through harvested rainwater. So that obviously is, I mean, a lot of people were starting to do more of the LID sort of design in terms of site grading design. So that kind of ties into this. But basically, we need to demonstrate that we're directing and capturing harvested rainwater to landscape areas to meet outdoor water demand. So in a nutshell, those are those two topics, and I will turn it back briefly to Patricia for any closing thoughts, and then we can wrap up our landscape presentation.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks, Kim. I'm not gonna say anything else because we did run over a little bit, but if there's any questions, we can, address them now or, just stop by sometime. Either way, I'll leave that up to others.
And I just want to let everybody know too that all of this information will be posted on the hub, as well as some more of their collateral pieces and things that marketing has been working on too. So all this information is available too. Thanks, Patricia.
Uh-huh.
All right. I will go ahead